Good.
Yo, what's up, man?
Hey, bro. How you doing?
Pretty good. Can you hear me good?
I can hear you well.
Sweet.
Yeah. How's it going, bro?
Man, it's great.
Good to hear from you, man. How's things been going? Guys getting back to rolling over there? I see in Oklahoma.
Yeah, we've been back for a couple weeks now, you know.
Sweet. Yeah. We have too. We're technically breaking the law doing it.
I mean,
That.
I feel like most of us are, so
Oh,
hold
hey.
on.
I
Let
heard
me
that
kill
gym
this.
timer. Nice.
Kill some- All right, I'm back.
All right, man. All good. Yeah, we with 2 weeks ago, like May 4th, that we started doing basically the same thing I see a lot of the gyms from Oklahoma doing. And there are some gyms here in Arkansas, but most of the gyms in Arkansas are not doing jujitsu right now. And
Really,
we're not doing kids. We're only doing adults.
really. I figured like guys like Westside and I guess Russellville or even Matthew Smith's way. I figured they would be up, but I understand, them not wanting to.
Yeah, I hadn't seen what West Side's doing. That's I wonder what they are doing. But like Inferno, for example, like Northwest
Yeah.
Arkansas, they have multiple gyms up there, like
Yeah.
hundreds of students and no jujitsu.
And they're shut down.
They opened back and started having like they have kickboxing classes, right? So, but yeah, they were shut down for weeks, and like they're doing some underground rolling and stuff, like we all were. I feel
Yeah,
like,
man, I
um,
feel like um the schools with the owners that have multiple businesses and other avenues of revenue, I feel like they kept their doors closed longer because they could afford to. Some guys, you know, all they do is jujitsu, and they were forced to open. I mean, it's either let your business close or do what you do. Like, what do you do?
one man, I mean, I know every community is and will be hit with this, but we've had businesses close in Russellville, in like our local community, and then statewide we've had multiple businesses. But I'm seeing everybody make those posts like, oh yeah, this business isn't coming back. They've made the decision to close down. You know,
Yeah, that's
so,
terrifying.
yeah. It is, man. But I've been a big supporter. There's been a lot of jiu-jitsu guys like really being vocal, like Eddie Fivey and like Tanner Rice. And, I mean, but several people have been like some states, like just their orders. Oh, that James David Gray guy in Michigan. Like some states are just like draconian with their orders. You
Really.
know. So I feel fortunate that like probably like our two states are not as strictly enforced as some of the people I'm talking to in like
Yeah,
LA.
I noticed I think the more conservative states, they're really about opening up, letting us get back to work. Um, Blue states, they're more reluctant. But I mean, I understand both sides. Can't live in fear, but you also have to take care of each other. It's crazy.
It is, man. It is. But yeah, hey man, I think that I mean most people I'm talking to are handling it well, staying positive, and like my
Yeah.
attitude's just been perseverance, you know. Well, hey dude, so I was just gonna obviously talk to you about guess what? Jiu-jitsu.
Of course.
Um um well anyway, man, like, I know I've seen you and been around you. I even had a match with you at AGF once upon a time over the years and watched you compete and been at IBJJFs with you at different times, different parts of the country. So, but man, I think a lot of people know who you are. Just like what you've been doing with super fights and stuff. But like, what led you to here? Like, what led you to jujitsu?
Um, Whew, man, not really sure if people are ready for that.
All right.
So I got into some trouble like when I was I think I was 8, actually 19, getting ready to turn 20, and I did some legitimate time, like prison time for it. I went in for arson. Some of my friends and I, we were just being dumb. Typical kid with no like guidance or direction or anything. But I got into some trouble, and while I was in, I had this celly, like we would watch the UFC fights uh, on Spike. That's when they were on Spike, and he was like, "Bro, I can show you this." Like he would show me the triangle or the armbar or the hip bump sweep. He actually pulled me to the side because I was still kind of fighting a lot. I was like fighting. I love fighting. It was just I grew up fighting. It was just what we did. It was almost cultural for me. But I was fighting, and he pulled me to the side. Look, we love watching the fights. He's like, I can show you this. Turns out he trained jujitsu in Oklahoma City before he had gotten into trouble. In the facility that I was at, we had bags and we had some mats. They would let us like drill stuff and grapple a
Nice.
little bit. Yeah. And so I started when I was in, and I got out, I had to work. Like I had a pretty decent job, like, but it was in the way. And I knew that I wanted to train full time. So I ended up quitting my job and just diving in. And I was fortunate enough to be able to do so. And here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's a great story actually, because here's the thing, man. Um, like a good friend of mine is actually a student at the gym. His son, he used to train with me, right? But
Mm,
he got to around the same age and got in a little bit of trouble. Then like couldn't pay his fines
yeah.
and this and that. And long story short, he ends up going to jail for like a year and a half. And gets in trouble when he's in jail for fighting one time, and it gets prolonged and all this. But long story short, like he is super young and made some mistakes, and now is on the other side of that. But man, like just the whole people like you said, dude, people with limited guidance, or even like this guy, he even had some guidance. People are young and stupid and make
Yeah,
mistakes
people do
sometimes.
dumb stuff, man. I really I really didn't have guidance. So my pops died when I was like 5, so it's pretty much my mother. And then I moved away with my cousins, and we were just a bunch of young dummies hanging out, you know. And I found some friends, some bad friends, and it just spiraled out of control. I mean, it happens, you know.
Well, and two, what's sad is, and you've overcome this part of many people's stories with that, is like you were able to emerge back into society and become an entrepreneur and be a part of a successful business and all the other things you got going on. So like that's whereas usually because of the way social norms are, it's like, oh, you made a mistake when you were 19. Well, you're going to
Oh,
get
yeah.
punished forever.
Forever. And you know what's crazy is they do make it harder. Like recidivism is so high because they put so many roadblocks in front of you to it's almost, I don't want to say impossible, but man, if you don't have like the proper support, you're gonna end up going back. And I feel like man, the martial arts community is so amazing, especially like the jujitsu side of it. And they really do look out for each other. And man, I was really blessed to like find this culture. You know, I was lucky, you know. Some people don't get that lucky.
Man, it is like it's that the sort of values that come with when people say like the jujitsu lifestyle, or just the sort of lifestyle a martial artist would live, right? Because like I pursue other things like boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, gi, no gi. And I mean, I'm sure you do some cross training yourself. I've seen you
Yeah,
guys
of
have
course.
bags and stuff in your gym. What
Yeah,
all
my
what all do you guys have going on? Like tell me about your business a little bit.
So here, I run this facility with TJ Tomlin. We have 2 schools.
Okay,
I
I'm
run,
friends with him on Facebook.
yeah, American Elite. He basically recruited me to run this facility. Man, I was teaching in Shawnee, and I was teaching Muay Thai, and my school started growing. and I just kind of grew apart from that school, and he recruited me to uh, come teach this one, which is great. It was good timing because I was living in my gym. And my girl and I had broken up, and man, it was crazy. But anyways, here I have kickboxing, like day classes, night classes. I have kids jujitsu, adults jujitsu. I have it all. My first love was Muay Thai. I started teaching kickboxing first,
Nice. I didn't know that.
but yeah, but jujitsu kind of took over. It does.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean it's man, I love kickboxing, but I've never and I have times where I'm like as obsessed with striking as I am jujitsu, but
Yeah.
jujitsu just in the immersion of my mind is definitely probably number one, I would say without question.
Yeah, jujitsu. Like it can be all consuming. But yeah, I've been teaching I've been teaching for about eight years now. It was crazy. I've pretty much been teaching myself jujitsu since I was a blue belt. I was training at AMA under Kendrick Coleman, and he gave my blue belt. But I lived so far. I was driving like an hour there and an hour back every day for like 2 years, like 2.5 years. And my buddy opened up this gym. He's like, "Hey, you want to help me run this school?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll teach the kickboxing." And he would teach the jujitsu. And where's that going?
We're just kind of talking like background and stuff. Like at what point did you find some coaches, right?
Man, I haven't had I haven't had a coach since blue belt.
Wow.
Like my closest,
I haven't either. Really, honestly, I haven't either.
my closest coach was Brandon Quick. That's like my mentor. He's my brother, and like everything that I've learned, I've pretty much gotten from him. Like working with AGF and like bringing him down for seminars and like his videos, like his YouTube channel, which is great. Like his
Yeah.
channel is extensive. Like I learned pretty much all of my jujitsu from Brendan and like blending it like with styles from like Hoffa or well pretty much whoever's the best at whatever position I'm on, I try to study them and get my information from them. And that's pretty much how I've learned jujitsu for the past 8 years.
Man, and you mentioned the AGF, and I know you have a lot of competition background, but like, how has refing like influenced your game? It's like just I've been talking to my students about like observe like a lot of people don't want to watch jujitsu, and I've like been encouraging them to do that. But like, you get to watch jujitsu like
Yeah,
for
man.
so many hours. How does
Oh
that
my
impact
gosh.
your game?
I think it benefits me as a competitor and a coach because I get to see who's doing what in what region of the country and what my kids aren't doing. If all the kids are doing this, if my kids aren't doing this, I'm definitely going to bring this back to my kids or my students. Or it's basically like an 8 to 12 hour study session, and I think it's benefited me as a competitor because I know what the refs are looking for. I know where they're going to be. I know when I can do what. I know it helped me understand the point system, using it for my advantage. I think refing what has probably been the most beneficial thing to my jujitsu journey. Well, like working with AGF, you know,
Yeah.
refing and competing. Those have pretty much been my coaches. Competition jujitsu.
So, I've followed your competitions over the years, man. I've got to see you obviously live at AGS and stuff, but Fight to Wins as well. Um, do you have a preference? Do you like doing both? Do you take more away from tournament play than you do super fights? Like, what would you differ? How would you differentiate?
Um, Man, I like them both. Because it makes you use your jujitsu in different ways, like playing the game of points. I like playing the game. I love the puzzles and like the obstacles that it puts in front of you. It's a game. I love the game. Sub only, I feel like it's more pure, like your jujitsu. You know what I mean? I like that as well because I can just do whatever I want without fear of losing points and losing the match because I hate losing. So like I like playing the game. I like sub only. I think everyone should dabble in both. You know,
Yeah.
they both have their benefits, but I think that if I was to call one more pure, it would be sub only. But I do like the point game. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's challenging. It's a little different.
Have you done any, which I know this is like the least spectator friendly, but have you had to like done any no time limit matches or anything like that ever?
I've never done a no time. Wait, actually, I think there was a man. I don't think I've done a no time limit.
Yeah, those seem to be pretty rare, right? Like
I
there's
don't.
there's been a couple of big ones, but what's the longest match you've ever done? More than 20 minutes?
The longest match, I think my longest match was 13 minutes.
Nice.
I think it was, and that was I think that was at Blue Bell, and that was a sub only tournament that used to run down through Texas. I forgot the name of it.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
yeah,
I'm sure you've seen a ton of tournaments
oh
come
my
and
gosh,
go just regionally.
yeah, ridiculous.
Well, man, you mentioned, Brandon. I had him on the podcast a while back. I mean, and like just watching your passing game and some other things you do, and watching also Hoffa Mendez. I've seen you kind of talk about Hoffa a little bit in some of your posts. But what are some other players that have been like a big influence on like you piecing together your game, like influences,
um,
inspirations?
as far as Nogi, I would say some local guys actually. Like I don't know if you probably know James Partridge. Like I
Oh
love
yeah,
everything.
yeah. James is great. He's done a seminar at my gym before.
Yeah, I brought him down to mine too. I love everything he does. He puts out great competitors, and I just love his style, his flow, like his trap. He has trap systems that he's not sharing with everyone, but I see. Uh, Jams, and then Craig Jones. He's definitely the the biggest force of my leg lock stuff, and then of course Brandon Quick. I see like all the greats, but I can't vibe with everything that they do. Is certain people, I have injuries and ailments, and only certain things I could do. So I'm pretty picky about who I decide to follow or try to mimic. Um,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. How tall are you too? You're kind of a
uh,
lanky guy.
I'm 6'1".
Okay, okay.
I'm 6'1". But no gi, like Jams, Craig Jones, of course Brandon Quick, and then Gee, my top game. Of course, our local legend, Lovato. Man, his passing is
Yes, for sure.
man. He's probably the one of the best passers in the game. Nobody talks about his passing enough. Well, Lovato for sure. Of course, Hoffa Mendez, and then I would say Lachlan Giles, but he studies the Meow brothers a lot. You know, well, I guess they train under what's the name with the deep voice, Murillo Santana's. His guard passing is absurd. The pressure is ridiculous. I actually did a seminar with him, but yeah, the whole body lock system I've been working on, the headquarters from Lovato's, and like the
Hmm.
movement and reactions that Hoffa Mendez likes to use. That's like my guard, man. I kind of just I would say a newer guy like Nicholas Marigali. He has really long legs, and I do like his De La Riva X game. It just fits well with like my injuries and things, and
So
Yeah.
how many years have you been training now? Are you still doing IBJJFs and stuff? Are you masters
Um,
division?
yeah, I do. I try to do all of them. I mix it up. I do adult and masters. I do notice a difference. Um, but yeah, I do. You asked the tournaments that I did. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, like I didn't know if you were still doing
Oh,
IBJJFs and like what side of the adult or masters you fell on,
um,
but
yeah, I do. I do. IBJJF. That's probably my like my. I mean, you have to do IBJJF for anyone to listen to you. Almost. Um, I do adult and master. Like no gi, I'll do adult, and the gi I'll do master. I just recently started that because man, adult in the gi. Actually, adult black belt gi is probably the hardest thing that I've ever done, like on the planet. It's rough, like not gonna
yeah,
lie, and it's fun. And I've been in the trenches, and man, it's a whole nother monster. It's crazy.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I do master one. I think I'm master two, but I do master one in the gi, and I do adult no gi. But everywhere else, I pretty much do adult. I do adult pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, yeah. So what's your total training time been? You mentioned some injuries you kind of racked up over the years. Like, how long you been
Um,
doing this?
10 years. Well, it'll be 10 years in October. 10 years October,
Wow.
and
Wow.
I've been training consistently, like 2 and 3 days since blue belt.
Nice. That's amazing, man. Like, just knowing you, I'm like, oh wow, he's only been training 10 years. Like, because I've seen you do some amazing shit. So that's over and two, man. Like, when did you get promoted to black belt? You've been black belt for a minute,
Um,
right?
a year and a half now.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So do you have any recovery methods that you like when you take an injury? Like, how are you overcoming that while running a school, etc.?
So I mean, if I get injured, I kind of have to still be here. So I'm still here teaching. I'll drill a little bit and just avoid using whatever's injured. And if I have to like completely stay off of it, then I'll stay off of it. Luckily, I haven't had any serious injuries since like purple belt. Busted my knee up, but I haven't had anything serious. Like I've banged some stuff up, but nothing some rest couldn't fix, you know.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I normally, man, so like it's hard to, I had to learn how to take care of my body because I'm teaching day and night and doing privates in between, and I would roll so much, and my body would just be trashed. By Wednesday, you know, my body would be done. I'm like, why can't I? What am I doing wrong? And then I had to like start picking and choosing. I had to realize I can't roll every class. I can't roll every private. I can't. You just can't. Your body can't take it. So I have to navigate through the classes for competition. You know, I have to be particular about which classes I'm going to roll hard in, like according to who's going to come in and train with me. You know.
Is that something like that over the years, like with time and getting older doing this, that you slowed down a little bit? Did your recovery slow down, or is it just
Um,
kind of always been that way when you're
I
training
don't
like
think
this?
I don't think that I've slowed down, but I've like um, you know, the little tweaks make it a little bit harder. You know, they they start building up.
For sure. Yeah.
They just make it a little bit harder. But like I said, nothing that a little rest can't take care of.
So, like outside of the gym, this had been paramount for me just for aches and pains because for the longest time since I stopped competing really and like then I was only doing it when there's a competition coming up, which at certain points was all the time, but like exercising at a fitness center. Like, not, I never have been big on free weights, but like machines, cardio, elliptical row machine, pull ups.
Yeah.
It's like a whole routine I do at the fitness center. I just go there essentially every day. They're still, my fitness center's still closed. Sauna, they got everything. But you do anything like that to help you with your jujitsu?
Um, I normally, man, not really. I just roll a ton. But if I'm getting ready for like a major tournament, then I would definitely do some strength and conditioning a few months before, lift some weights, like 4 pins or like a title shot or whatever. I'll definitely lift. But I try not to, because I roll so much, and I think that um, I could get it. I can get what I need just by rolling, kind of taking on Marcelo Garcia's approach.
I was just thinking that, dude. I was just thinking that because he says that, and I hear people bring that up periodically. But that's a perspective worth considering. You
Yeah,
know,
but I think now in order to win like a major, you have to do strength and conditioning because everyone else is, and times are a little bit different from when Marcelo was the king.
yeah, for sure. The
Now,
game's evolved.
now everyone is jacked up, or half of them are on steroids. It goes.
I was just thinking about that. Like, what do you think about that? Like, have you run into that any? Do you agree,
Yeah, I
disagree with
felt
it?
it, and I don't. I think that they should allow everyone to do it. Why
I
not?
agree because, well, I think that the poor regulation, it's like the fact that there are always cheaters, there always have been cheaters, they always miss people, they're always going to miss people. That just since since you can't, come up with a system that actually works, just make it, let everybody do it and stop trying to
Everyone do
regulate
it.
it.
Steroids are great. You sleep better, you recover better, stronger, faster. Why
Man,
not?
sleep, dude, that is such an important thing as well. And like the sort of pitfall on jujitsu is like, your back is sore, your elbow aches, pains, tweaks, you toss and turn in the night, don't sleep quite as well, and that affects everything else. Like, do you do anything for sleep at all? Like, have you ever
No,
had any
man.
problems sleeping or anything like that?
Yeah, man, I struggle with that. I struggle with sleep, and I think it's something to do with like my ADHD. Like after 4 hours of sleep, I have to make myself stay asleep. It's crazy because I'll get up and be ready to go. And if I like like the other day, I had a match, a super fight, and I knew I wasn't going to get any sleep, so I got some sleepy time tea, to help me sleep.
Yeah.
To at least get 8 hours. I think 7 hours. I was like, okay, I'm ready to get up. But yeah, I still struggle with that. But I do know that if I need some sleep, I can take some sleepy time tea.
What is
And
that guy like melatonin in it?
yeah, melatonin.
Yeah, I took melatonin. There's a time when I was really struggling with sleep.
Yeah.
And for like a year and a half, I just started teaching college full time, and gym was really growing, had a lot going on, and I took melatonin, and I really didn't like it. I just told people it's like getting punched in the face with sleep. Yeah, like I would go to sleep and I'd sleep all the way through the night, but
Exactly.
I really didn't like having to rely on that. And I listened to that David Goggins book. I don't know if I'm sure you know who David Goggins is. I don't know if you listened to his book, but it's called Can't Hurt Me. And he goes into, he's like, you got to get up at 4. That's the difference. He had all this like these ideas behind it. So I started getting up at 4, and that
Mhm.
just like regulated my ass. Like I go to sleep naturally around like 9 to 10 o'clock after training. I get out of the gym around 7:30 to 8. Come home, eat, crash naturally, and I just wake up at 4. And it's like I get plenty of sleep. It's working out for me. But that's been like the only thing I've ever tried that's like, oh, this is easy. I'm in a routine.
Yeah, man. That's the the hardest part of this whole thing for me has been sleep, like getting regular sleep.
Yeah.
But I have a ton of kids and I run a school, and so
Yeah.
I'm always on the go.
Well, man, what do you have kind of plans for the future in terms of competitions? You got anything else coming up? I know everything's kind of been on freeze, but I do know you also just had a match. So
Yeah, the match was crazy. I took it, for the love of the sport. I was for sure out of shape. Timing was off. It was terrible. Probably the my worst jujitsu match ever. I felt like a white belt. Like my forearms are fried. Like I was gassed out. 4 minutes in, I remember looking at the clock and thinking, really? Halfway through. Um,
mhm.
yeah, I don't plan on competing until at the end of summer when I'm actually in shape. Uh, I'm hoping that IBJJF gets going. I know AGF is going to get going. I'll probably be doing some work with them, of course.
June in Arkansas, I think I saw them post that they're
Yeah,
planning on doing.
I'm hoping that stays. Hoping that one stays, of course, because I'll be there for sure. I probably won't compete, but I'll be refing definitely.
Right on.
But,
Yeah.
I don't plan on competing until I'm back in shape because that's the worst feeling is competing out of shape.
Yeah. Do you ever run or anything?
Nah, man. I ride bikes.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah. Dude, running sucks. I've been doing it for like 6 months. And I have not done over a 10K, which is like 6 miles. But I usually just do like a mile before something or
I'm not really a runner, man. I actually hate it.
oh dude,
um,
it's terrible. I'm not gonna lie.
I I ran track and we would have to run as warm ups. I hated it. I was a sprinter though. I'm not really a jogger, long distance runner.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So like so a couple of your like let's say we talked about your passing and stuff, but man, a couple of things that I would know you for also, just like kind of wanted to get your take on them and like maybe how you integrated them into your game or just some of your thoughts would be the truck. I've seen you
Sure.
hit the trucks, some sick transition competitions. So like, how did you start working on that?
Um, so I think Brennan Quick, one of Brennan Quick's guys, trucked someone at a tournament, and then I was at the time I was studying like the 10th Planet guys, and they were trucking, and like Brennan's philosophy kind of hit well with me, so I kind of took off with it, and I noticed that like in competition, like no one was ready for the truck. I feel like most people still aren't, but they are aware of it. But when I started trucking, most people just they weren't familiar with the ins and outs of it. So I was able to catch a lot of people, like a lot of people, and it just with my passing style, like the way that the easiest truck entry for me is probably the entries from turtle, like when they turtle up. And my passing style forces turtle a lot. So it just blended so well with my passing style. Like my style forces turtle, and then it became so easy, like a reflex, to just dive into it from. And I figured it out from so many angles, and I just kind of took off with it.
Has it been something you've hit quite a bit in competition?
I think if there's a trap that I hit most, it would be the truck. Well, between the truck and like the honey hole, I would say the truck. But everyone's caught on to like not caught on, but they're aware of it, so it's harder to truck people. I for sure have to like go out of state or out of the region to truck people. Um, but yeah, I would say the truck probably is still my most high percentage trap system.
Well, okay, so also I gotta ask you about this. Is I've seen you over like the last year or so, just on video, working a foot sweep.
Oh, for sweet, yeah. Woo.
Is that something I like? It just reminds me of that Seth Daniels foot sweep, right?
Yeah, well, that's man. So his video had gone viral. Like he foot swept this dude at Pans,
Yeah,
made
yeah.
the dude like splash, hit his head. I think it was purple belt or something. And I saw that, and man, it just like I felt like I could do it because I did it on accident a couple times before I had even figured it out. And I saw the video. I'm like, okay, that's a thing. And then Seth put out an instructional, and I studied it, and I practiced it on my students, my poor guys. I practiced on them like for a good year before I tried it in competition. And then my first like no gi like super fight, I guess. I broke it out against Daniel Roberts at the beginning of the year, and it just kind of took off. I did it. I've been hitting it ever since.
Nice. Yeah, I've seen videos of you hitting it. Like, do you get it gi and no gi? Do you have a preference on your
Um,
on?
it's like I get it in both, and it works really well on jujitsu and wrestlers because everyone comes out in a stance usually, and it's all about it's all about that stance. But judo guys, I can't foot sweep them that way. I have to tie them up and do like an actual judo foot sweep
Yeah.
instead of a little trick. But yeah, I practiced it, and I just started hitting it. I hit it everywhere from like local super fights. I hit it at Pans. I hit on Fight to Win, like my Nogi super fight. I hit it on AGF all the time. Just
Yeah.
works
When
really good.
when did you start hitting it? Is it like since black belt? Like
Oh, it was
recent?
at I th- I think I was brown actually because I hit it at Pans. Um, it was at Brown, like my second year at Brown belt, and my first, like I said, my first time hitting it was against Daniel Roberts, and that was like a January. So I guess it was like a year and a half ago. Well, almost a year and a half ago when I really started doing it. So I guess year two of Brown belt. Thanks,
Yeah.
Seth. Thanks.
Yeah. Nice. Well, man, that's like I've seen him at that, and I think he even released like a instructional series or something on it
Yeah, he has
a
a
couple
he
years
has a
back.
couple. He has one on YouTube and one on BJJ Fanatics.
Man, BJJ Fanatics, what a great place for resources, right? I
Uh,
mean,
it's
I love that
it's
place.
it's so great because you're literally learning from all the best at who all the best at whatever they do. It's right in front of our faces.
Hmm.
It's pretty good.
So, and I've seen Brandon's got, I believe, an instructional on there, or he at least has one on Budo videos. But is
Yeah,
that
he has
something we might see from you on down the road, like some
a,
instruction?
maybe, hopefully, I'd like to win a major at black belt first before I do anything like that, so people would listen to me. That's my first goal, and then probably focus on that. I don't. I like the instructionals, but I want people to be like, oh, I want to get that Kevin Williams instructional.
Yeah, and I know you've been doing seminars over the last couple years. It seems like has that been something you've been getting more of a frequency of people reaching out just because of like
Yeah.
seeing
Um,
some of your work?
yeah. I put out my work so people can see. And if they like it, maybe they'll bring me down. And it's been working. I've been doing. I think last year I did like 7 seminars or something like
Nice.
that. The year before I think I did like 5. So I'm trying to. I want to be able. In the end, I want to be able to travel. I want to do like one seminar every other month. You know, pay my bills with that and relax. That's my goal. Like Hanacho Tavares, man, this man, he's my black belt. He travels the world teaching seminars and training jujitsu. And I feel like he was the first person to put that in my face. And I was like, man, I want to do that. Like, I just want to teach and travel and train.
Well, man, yeah, and as much as you're traveling with AGF, the opportunity I would imagine is there for you to,
Oh man,
be bringing you in.
so I got this really great opportunity that I wanna say right here, but I can't. Uh, you'll be hearing it hopefully pretty soon. But I do have a great opportunity coming up, and I can't wait to tell everyone about
Nice.
it. It's in that area, so
All right. Heck yeah, man. Well, bro, I really appreciate you taking the time to come and add to the audience list. I've been having some awesome jiu-jitsu guys on, and
oh, man, I know I've been watching. It's pretty great.
well, thanks for the support too. And I got some good ones coming on. I'm talking to Jason Scully right now about a time.
What?
So
Nice.
yes, right. Um, I love that dude's material and what he's done with
That
the
it
grapplers guy.
was. Oh yeah, the grapplers guy was for sure. I if you're like a blue or like purple belt trying to run a school and you weren't using the grapplers guide, then you're missing a piece.
Yeah, that guy was really ahead of the curve. I really
Yeah,
appreciate, like, first, like, I hit him up and I was like, look, here's who I am. First off, like, thanks for everything you've done, man. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I much appreciated. And I was like, I have this podcast, and I'm talking to these people on here like yourself, and would love to. He was like, yeah, I'll do your podcast. I was like, yes.
That's a win.
Yeah, yeah,
Also
yeah.
excited about Justin Rader. I'm definitely gonna be listening in.
Oh, yeah, 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 dude. He's up next. He's up at noon. I'm excited
His
about
gym
that.
is right down the street from mine. I love that dude. He's a legend.
Oh, he is. Yeah. I'm excited to talk to him. Anytime I've just been on the mat with him, learning from him, it's like it's impactful. It's profound. Like he's has such a great way of breaking stuff down, explain things.
Yeah, for sure. And I learned how to like coach my students watching him at tournaments. Like I'm like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing there. Okay, okay.
Yeah, he's an amazing coach. That's like one thing I've always admired, just his intensity and everything.
Yeah,
He's a
for
competitor
sure.
too. So, well, right on, bro. We'll have to do this again sometime, and I'm sure I'll
All right.
see you around the circuit and here and
I'll see
there,
you in
man.
a couple. I'll see you in a few weeks or
Okay,
so.
right on, bro. Right on. Well, have a good one, man.
All right, man.
All right, take it easy, Kevin.
Peace.